Waterboys musician Steve Wickham and his wife Heidi are continuing to explore the walks of Sligo. This walk will see them ascending the woodland trail from Colooney Bridge to Union Rock, passing through Ballygawley and heading over the Ox Mountains to Loch Luman to emerge at Slish Wood, famous in these parts for playing a role as a location in many of WB Yeats' poems. The end of their walk will take them to the Lake Isle of Inishfree at Loch Gill. Before they start the walk, Steve and Heidi have caught up with Pádraig Meehan again to explore one of Ireland's richest heritage sites at Carrowmore.
So the monuments, they're everywhere here. You can see as you walk by, monuments on both sides of the road.
Carrowmore is one of the largest complexes of megalithic tombs in Ireland and is also among the oldest passage tombs. The earliest monument here dates to approximately 3700 BC.
Heidi and Steve, this is Carrowmore, and this is the hub. It's the hub of Neolithic Sligo and Neolithic Ireland, and it's the hub of the Coolera Peninsula, the landscape of the monuments, as Stefan Barg says. And it's an amazing place, really. What you have here is 30 small little monuments, little satellite tombs that surround the big central one. And most of them, like this one, point into the centre. So it's like a wheel into its own centre. Then you go out 6 kilometres into the hills, and all around in the mountains, everywhere you look, there's a cairn on the top of the mountains. Obviously, Knocknarea, as we come around further, the Ox Mountains are topped with passage tombs. All around us, everywhere, virtually, you look. What is it about here that's so kind of important and powerful? Because everything is focused in this place.
It's extraordinary. And you can feel there's
something
strange power about this.
I agree.
Yeah.
Was this around the same time as Tara?
Tara is about 300 years younger. The mound of the hostages in Tara is also aligned at the start of winter and the end of winter, and it's probably built about 300 years after this one. So Listowel is about 3,600 BC. About 200 years on in the project after they built the small ones, and then maybe some years, could be 100 years later, we don't know, they build the cairn over it.
Steve and Heidi's second walk starts in earnest at Colooney Bridge. From here they walk through rambling woodland trails all the way to Union Rock.
Feels like reindeer.
I went down to the Hazelwood because there was a fire in my head. There's some native oak, look.
Which, this here? Wow.
I love those scary trees. They're scary.
Yeah, that's a sort of another moor floor.
This whole area features a marked and sold trail that goes through a wide range of both conifer and broadleaf forest. This part of the woodland trail takes Steve and Heidi up to Union Rock, which is a great viewing point with commanding views for miles in all directions.
A dance here.
Ready for a dance. Wowee. So what can we see then, Steve?
Well, that's where we were yesterday, the big bowl that we were talking to Pádraig about.
Yeah.
Ben Bowl.
I think when you're on a walk, there are not just highs and lows in your terrain, but highs and lows in your emotional state.
Yeah, of course.
And I think it's important to
recognise
the lows and enjoy the highs.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, it is meant to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's not an endurance test.
The next section of the walk is 8 kilometres long, through Ballygawley to Loch Luman.
This is the path now that goes from Markree down to Loch Gill. They used to be used to pick up goods and chattels.
Oh, right.
They'd stop here with the horses. They'd have a drink. And I suppose people in the old times would think this is very deep because you're looking at a very low valley over there, so they imagine it goes down to the bottom of where the valley is.
Okay.
So it's a black loch, really. And the whoopers...
So it's not fed by a stream or anything
No,
like
there's
that?
no... That's the mystery. There's no river in or out, and it stays full. The mystery of it staying full.
And the water lilies and...
Yeah.
That is so, so beautiful, isn't it?
We should stop and have a cup of tea, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
There's a bit of
There you
a breeze coming up now. Thanks. Should have brought the pudgy in.
Cheers.
Good luck.
Oh, that was nice.
Make sure it didn't dip it.
No, goodbye bench.
The trail gets easier now, and the next 40 minutes are largely downhill.
It's like a riverbed.
It is, yeah. I bet this does actually fill up with water. Mind your footing here. Oh, hello.
Lovely old oak.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
That's a nice bit of oak tree there.
Wow, it's
That's
like
it.
a cobweb.
I'd say
Look at it.
that's about 100 years old, do you?
Yeah. It's very unusual. It's like a lattice.
Nice mossy walls.
I knew a guy called Mossy Wolf.
I know
From
where I go.
Finglas.
Yeah, mossy.
Good old Mossy Wolves.
Sligo has always been associated with the poet WB Yeats. Funnily, Yeats never actually lived in Sligo, but it's a major location and setting for many of his poems, and Slish Wood on the shores of Loch Gill is featured in many of them.
We'll have a round.
Martin Enright is the local historian and president of the Yeats Society, who's going to tell them about the wood's connection to Yeats.
And the forest walk here is laid out along by the shore of Loch Gill, the southern shore of Loch Gill, and it swings around to just opposite the Lake Isle of Inishfree. Because, as Yeats says, where dips the rocky highland of Sleuth within the lake, and that is the Slish Wood, because there are variations in the word and the name from the old Irish script always, Sleuth Wood, Slish Wood. There lies a leafy island where flapping herons wake the drowsy water rats. There we fed our fairy vats, full of berries and of reddest stolen cherries. Come away, O human child, to the waters and the wild with a fairy hand in hand, for the world's more full of weeping than you can understand.
Wow. Here we are at the end of the walk.
So this must be the Lake Isle of Inishfree.
That's it.
Wow. Here at last.
We've been living here 20 years in Sligo or something like
Yeah.
that. And for me, the great perspective, especially doing the 2 walks in the 2 days, we travelled the loop from Strandhill and all the way around Killasperbrone, up Knocknaray, and then saw that fabulous bowl of Sligo itself
Yeah.
today. And it was completed today when we got to Union Wood and we looked back, and the perspective of the place we live in.
Yes.
I think getting a bit of perspective, both away from the normal daily life and just the place we live in. Highlight sharing time with Heidi, walking around the mountains. That's it.
Oh, there must be more than that.
Yeah, it is the most beautiful place in Ireland, in my mind. Here, where we are now, with the lake water lapping, just as Yeats says, there it is, at Inishfree.